Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event at the Sailor Jerry Rampage at Remington. MMA action inside the cage here at Remington Park Casino in Oklahoma City. Tonight's bout brought to you by Tecate Light. I'm Andrew Spino, joined cage side by Emmanuel Rivera. Emmanuel, the crowd has just kicked itself up into a roar as Derek A-Game Adkins makes his way toward the cage. This is an exciting main event. Two Bellator veterans, Derek Adkins, Codale Ford. How do you measure these guys up?
Man, these guys are both really good. Both have good hands. Derek Adkins both and Codale have been in Bellator before, so they've been at the top. They've been Derek Adkins also at the LFA veteran too. So we saw Derek beat Kyle Driscoll not too long ago. So Derek does have a good game. He's coming off a tough loss, but he's looking to get back into this. And he did take this fight short notice. But Codale is no stranger to this game. You know, he has 22 fights under his belt, and all his fights besides one he has finished. So we're looking at a really good fight, probably really action-packed.
This is well going to be an exciting main event here at Remington Park in Oklahoma City. We have the fighters in the cage, Derek Adkins, Codale Ford. We are just about ready to get this started. Let's set it up in the cage to the extraordinary Gerald Whalen.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to your main event of the evening, proudly brought to you by Sailor Jerry. This bout is scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. He weighed in at 169 pounds. From Taft, Oklahoma, ladies and gentlemen, Codale Crunch Time Ford! And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, he weighed in at an official 170 pounds. His professional record stands at 10 wins with 5 defeats. From Edmond, Oklahoma, ladies and gentlemen, Derek Adkins! We go to Mark Carter for your instructions.
Alright guys, let's make this a fight of the night. You've had your instructions, fight hard, fight fair, touch them up if you wish. Let's get it.
Derek A-Game Adkins, a hometown favorite from Edmond, Oklahoma, another one of Oklahoma's wrestling capitals, just north of Oklahoma City, taking on Tulsa's Codale Ford. This is our main event at the Sailor Jerry Rampage at Remington. And here we go, Emmanuel Rivera. You've seen both these guys fight quite a bit. How quickly do they start, either of them?
Both of them start pretty quick, and there we go. And there we see you both have hands. Codale obviously has very slick hands. Derek Adkins actually has really good hands, but he's not very well known, or he wasn't very well known for his hands until he beat the undefeated boxer Bo Gibbs. Hands of Ward Gibbs. So he surprised a lot of people in that fight, and now we're looking to see if he can implement those hands or his wrestling. He has great wrestling also, so he's very good at being well-rounded.
Yeah,
his hands come a long way.
I think surprise is putting it mildly. Bo Gibbs was a world-ranked middleweight, I think 18-0 when he fought Derek Adkins. Adkins handing Bo Gibbs his first loss in the ring. So we know that he is an accomplished striker and outstanding boxer, but he's no slouch when it comes to wrestling either. This guy is the complete package.
Yes, he is. Like I said, both these guys have been at the top. So Derek was smart to be able to shoot under Cordale's punches and be able to take him down with that single leg. Cordale's going to have to definitely work out of this position, try to get that leg out, and be able to work the cage to stand back up.
And look how remarkably calm Codale Ford is. He doesn't look the slightest bit concerned that actually Adkins is in a better position than he is at this point.
Yeah, definitely, and that comes with experience. You know, you see in his face, he's very calm. He's trying to figure out what he needs to do, where he needs to shift his hips to, what arm he needs to control, and he's back up. He used that cage as he should have to get out of that position on the bottom from Derek Atkins.
How much energy does it take out of a fighter when he starts worrying?
Worrying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Worrying.
I mean, it's not energy really it takes, but it definitely messes with you mentally, which messes you with your technique. You're not thinking clearly. You're not, you're getting frustrated. And as we all know, we can't think clearly when we're frustrated in any situation. You know, we think a lot more clear when we're, calm and collected. So it's definitely a big, I wouldn't say in fatigue, but I definitely say it's a big,
mental
it makes
fatigue.
you make mistakes. Yeah, mental fatigue, exactly. And
this very much is a mental game.
Oh, for sure, 100%. So yeah, you're right. It's a mental fatigue, if anything. It's chipping away at that mental, from the point of breaking. So, it's very important for you to stay calm. He was very smart here to let go of Atkins and get out and exit with some punches. Now, Codell has to throw his hands and be careful with the takedown that Derek's looking for.
Is Codell Ford in as good a shape as we usually see him in?
I'm not sure. He does look a little softer.
He looks maybe a little softer on the midsection, a little more than he's usually extremely trim.
Well, we also got to put this in perspective that Derek Atkins did take the fight short notice, and he was probably going to come in a little heavier. So maybe Codell didn't trim off some of that stuff at the end. Sometimes the weight cut will make you look a little thinner and a little bit more more compact, if you will.
And how can those few extra pounds take a toll in the later rounds?
It can take a toll big time. I mean, as we know, I always explain it to people. If you're maxing on your bench and you get 200 pounds one time, try to add 5 pounds to that.
Right.
See if you can get it one time. People might not look at it like that, but in the course of the fight, as longer the fight goes, the weight matters a little bit more. Codell, you can see Codell's very confident with his hands. He has those hands down, trying to bait Derek to throw something so he can counter off of it. Derek's being smart, kind of pumping the jab to see where he's going with it, and he goes for that takedown. Codell stuffed it.
Both of these are experienced guys. I'm not sure there's anything that's happened in the cage that they haven't seen before. And you can see the expression on their faces. They're very composed, 100% pros. And what strikes me as interesting is how similar their styles are to each other.
They are. They're both standing pretty flat-footed and kind of trying to counter each other. Good shot by Derek, but he did telegraph that a little bit. He needs to be able to throw some hands to be able to set that up a little bit better. Codell saw that and is able to, get back to the cage at least. But now Derek's trying to get that single leg and trying to get that takedown.
And as we come to the end of round one, neither fighter with a clear advantage over the other. We'll see what happens in round two. Welcome back for round two of the Sailor Jerry Rampage at Remington, brought to you by Tecate Light. I'm Andrew Spino, cage side with Emmanuel Rivera. Emmanuel, how would you score round one?
It was very hard to score. Codell seemed like he landed the better shots, but then Derek got the takedown, got a little bit of control. So it's very hard, but I would think Codell controlled it a little bit better with his hands and on the stand-up. So I'll have to edge it out to Codell on that one.
Now, these are two very evenly matched fighters. Their styles are very similar. Who would you give the edge to in terms of their corner?
It's very difficult. I mean, we got Myron Dennis in one corner, the Glory kickboxer, and TJ, a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So, and then we got Gerald Harris on the other corner, a guy that's obviously been in the UFC and Bellator. Myron Dennis actually was in the UFC and the Ultimate Fighter. So, these are two of the best corners we've seen tonight, 100%. So it's hard to say which one's better, but they both of them are definitely very good corners.
Well, these guys are really evenly matched across the board. We are well into round number two. Not a lot of action so far. Ford leaping in with a wild overhand right. barely escaped by Adkins, but Adkins really wasn't in a position to counter either. If you were advising either of these fighters, what would you tell them as far as how to initiate the action?
I think Ford needs to throw a little more feints and follow up with the punches, to feint, and then commit to a punch. Derek needs to really be tricky with his takedowns. Throw some hands, fake the takedown, come on again. Any wrestler can use that takedown to be able to land a nice little uppercut with the lead hand down the middle. So I think he needs to do that. He needs to implement that fake takedown, go in the middle, and throw a 3-punch combo when he's coming up.
This entire round has been stand-up so far, and this is a place where I would expect Adkins to have a distinct advantage based on his boxing experience. But he's really not dictating the tempo or the geography of this round. And,
right.
But neither fighter is.
No, you're right. It's more of a who can counter who right now.
Mm-hmm.
And Derek seems like he's finding his flow. Codell's definitely still throwing. He's still standing the ground and throwing, but Derek seems like he's finding his flow a little bit. Codell's exactly what he's trying to do is get Derek to commit to a jab or to a punch so he can counter him.
Well, Adkins threw a jab, which Ford very cleverly slipped, but really didn't throw anything in return. A lot of times when you have two counterpunchers in the cage or in the ring together, it can devolve into kind of a dull match. At what point, when you're in one of these bouts, do you decide, I need to initiate the action if I'm going to win this fight?
Yeah, if you are pretty even, then one or the other guy needs to initiate something. See how he's feinting. He feints. Derek reacts. They need to set something up with those feints and their reaction. And on the other hand, Derek needs to set it up, set his hands up, or set his wrestling up with the hands. But they're both looking right now just to counter and kind of talking to each other a little bit, taunting each other a little bit. They're trying to get each other to counter. That's what they're trying to do exactly. That's the counter game right now. Ford's looking for that right uppercut.
And knowing that each of them has taken some pretty hard shots from the other, is it a matter that each respects the other's punching powers so much they're not ready to commit?
Yeah, I mean, right now they're seem like Derek's getting a little emotional, and Derek gets the takedown now. But Codell did land a nice little knee while Derek was getting that takedown.
He did. I got the impression Derek Adkins was getting frustrated. Started throwing some wild punches. It was great in terms of action of the fight because there wasn't a whole lot in this round, but it ended up, as wild as he was throwing, did himself a favor because he caught Ford, I think, a little flat-footed when he took him down there.
Well, Ford was a little flat-footed, but before that he stayed flat-footed and moved his hips and his slips and made Derek miss pretty bad. So I think Derek switched it up to be able to get that takedown.
And neither fighter really changing levels during their stand-up either.
No, you're right.
Right now they're on the ground. Adkins was in good position, but he seems to have lost it as Ford is slowly turning Adkins onto his back. Adkins corner.
Adkins needs to get that right foot out to be able to take him down again.
Hard shots to the body by Codell Ford at the end of round 2. Final round coming up. 5 minutes, Derek. 5 minutes. Welcome back to the Sailor Jerry Rampage at Remington Park, brought to you by Tecate Light. This the third and final round of our main event, Derek Adkins versus Codell Ford. And very, very difficult fight, at least for me, to score so far. Emmanuel Rivera joining us cage side. Emmanuel, tell me how you scored it, because I got to admit I'm at a bit of a loss.
Yeah, you're right, man. It's one of those things where are the judges going to count that last part as the last thing they saw, Codell raining those body punches, or they're going to count the, some of the pressure and some of the takedowns that Derek was getting. It's up in the air right now. So, again, we're at that position, again, as some of the earlier fights where it's 1-1, in my opinion, or it's 0-2 on either side, so you don't know.
Right, yeah.
So it's one of those things where the third round is very important right now. So it comes down to who wants it more right here.
Yeah, no one has dominated the fight at this point. I would have to give, if these judges are scoring aggressiveness, I'd have to give it to Adkins throughout the course of the fight. Not that he's really been in control, but he's been pressing the action for the most part.
He definitely has, and you have those judges that definitely count the pressure and count control, and then you have the judges that, Codell looks comfortable. He looks like he's, not getting hurt. He doesn't look tired. Derek looks a little bit more tired, so it just depends on the judges how they're going to view this fight, and if they're going to view it, individually of the fighters, how they look, or control, and, it's just really up in the air with the judges. So, again, it comes down to this third round, in my opinion, right now.
And Codell Ford is not slipping those jabs the way he was in the earlier rounds. Derek Adkins finding his range and landing those jabs, a good exchange. As Ford leans way back, I think if Adkins had thrown a right hand, he might have tagged him.
Yeah, he tried to land a little uppercut, and Ford barely moved out of the way. So they're talking to each other, playing that counter game right now.
And Ford is a great athlete. He's very quick, but I think he overestimates his own quickness leaning back from punches like that, because I think if Adkins was only slightly quicker, especially as he leans back, if Adkins were to throw that overhand right, he'd tag Ford as he was moving back.
You're right.
Just like that.
Yes, there he goes. And he tried, but Codell does a good job of angling out when he does slip the punches. He angles out, and it's an awkward shot for Derek to throw. So even if he lands, he's not putting that full power on it just because his feet are crossed.
Yeah, and Codell Ford's a very clever fighter, difficult to hit, difficult to control, and he's difficult to
figure out, really.
To figure out, and I can tell Adkins is, I sense that Adkins is getting a little frustrated at his inability to impose his will on Ford. Ford seems completely unflappable, although that was a nice left uppercut to the body right as Adkins was coming in.
And I like the respect between these guys. You got to give Derek Adkins props for taking this fight short notice, and then you also got to give Codell props for taking this fight against Derek Adkins, because Derek Adkins is no joke, and he's very well-rounded. These are two tough guys in a tough tactical fight. We are in the third and final round of this, our main event of the Rampage at Remington, and Derek Adkins may have won the round with that, at least so far. I think in a very even round that Ford was generally dominating with his jab. Adkins gave such a dominant takedown there that he may have turned the tide in the judge's eyes. Do you think it was enough? Well, that's the thing is, see what he can do with it. Obviously, the takedown was very smart to be able to take him down and hold him here, but he needs to do a little damage just to be able to convince these judges, because like I said, you never know with the judges, so he needs to hold him down here and be able to do some damage. Codell needs to use that fence, needs to get the hips out and use that fence to get up, because if not, this can be the end of the fight, and the judges will see Derek at the end dominating the top.
Is Ford trying to, is he shaking his head to his corner right now? Is he trying so hard to give the impression that he's under control that he's giving up points?
Yeah, I think that's that's always smart. If you don't have the advantage, I think you looking like you're okay can sway the judges a little bit, especially if Derek's not doing much. But he got him full on his back now, and Derek's going to start raining some punches. I guarantee you that. He needs to do something here just to solidify this round.
Well, if he's got to do it, he's got to do it quickly, because we are in the closing seconds of the third and final round. Adkins trying to finish with a flurry, and that is it. We are going to go to the judges' scorecards. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Sailor Jerry Rampage at Remington, brought to you by Tecate Light. Our main event, Derek Adkins versus Codell Ford, has gone the distance. We are going to go to the judges' scorecards. Here is the staggering Gerald Whalen.
Ladies and gentlemen, the main event, proudly brought to you by Sailor Jerry, goes to the scorecards. Judge John Kennedy, Ron Hayes, and Don Hayes all scored about 29-28 for your winner by unanimous decision. Out of the blue corner, Codell Crunch Time!
Ford. Codell Crunch Time Ford, winner by unanimous decision, 29-28 on all three judges' scorecards. Emmanuel Rivera, any surprises by that decision?
Not really. I think I wasn't going to be surprised either way.
Yeah, could have gone either way.
It could have gone either way. Again, like I said earlier, it all depended on the judges, whether they, were going to judge on the pressure and the takedowns or the damage. And I think Codell did land more jabs and more punches.
On behalf of HD MMA, another spectacular evening of mixed martial arts inside the cage here at the Sailor Jerry Rampage at Remington, brought to you by Tecate Light. On behalf of Emmanuel Rivera, I'm Andrew Spino. Thank you for joining us, and on behalf of HD MMA and Boxing, we will see you at the next big show.